I welcome you to our press conference today. We have some very important information for you. I want to introduce some of the people that are behind me who are going to be doing the speaking, and some people who won't be speaking unless they ask questions, but who are very important to the community. First of all, from the City of Palmdale, behind me is Mayor Jim Ledford. We also have Council Member Laura Betancourt, and the City Manager Steve Williams is behind that group, and the Director of Public Safety for the City of Palmdale, Ann Ambrose, who is also, yes, behind me, okay. And from the City of Lancaster, a gentleman who will be speaking, the Mayor, R. Rex Parris. With behind me also and him are Vice Mayor Ron Smith, Council Member Sherry Marquez, and the City Manager of Lancaster, Mark Bozigian. We also have from the Los Angeles County Superior Court, Judge Brian Yap, and he'll be our first speaker. So, Your Honor, please come forward.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to the appropriately named Los Angeles Superior Court Mike Antonovich Courthouse. I'm not sure if, Mr. Hinkling is here on behalf of Supervisor Antonovich, and I again want to express my gratitude to the supervisor for getting the resources together to make this a reality. This is a great facility for our community, for any community. And again, I want to thank Supervisor Antonovich for his efforts in getting this done. My name is Judge Brian Yap. I am not only a judge and representing the judges in this courthouse, but also the administrators, the clerks, the judicial assistants, the bailiffs, the many volunteers that help make the wheels of justice turn, and sometimes they do turn slowly, but they do turn and the job does get done. A special welcome to a number of people that have already been introduced to you. Mr. Hinkling on behalf of Supervisor Antonovich, Sheriff Lee Baca, a friend of our community, Mayor R. Rex Parris, City Council members of the City of Lancaster, Mayor James Ledford, and City Council members of the City of Palmdale. And of course, all of us want to thank the many people that are standing in the far back. They should actually be the ones standing up here. And those are the law enforcement, or members of our law enforcement community, Sheriff, CHP, and you see those folks back there, men and women, and I'd like to give them an applause right now. I was told to make this quick, and so I will. I want to tell you something else, something that you probably already know, especially about the leadership of our two cities. That's Mayor Parris and Mayor Ledford. They are creative people. They are innovative. They are smart, bright, compassionate, caring people as well. They are men of faith. They are the men that are tasked with leading their cities. They do a great job. I think that's something that needs to be put out there, but I also think it's something that all of you know as well. And so Mayor Parris and Mayor Ledford, thank you. Lastly, we're here to celebrate the efforts of Sheriff Baca and law enforcement throughout the Antelope Valley. The efforts of Sheriff Baca and the men and women under his command has just been phenomenal. Sheriff Baca and I have met a couple of times. He's a very busy man, very integrated into the communities throughout the county. And before I introduced myself, the first time we had met, he told me, Brian, the North District, the Antelope Valley is a very important segment of the things that we do. We're going to do a lot of things out there. We're doing a lot of things out there, and you're going to see some results. And within a short period of time, those results are happening. They continue to happen. Sheriff Baca, thank you. Lastly, the fine men and women that work in this building behind me, the efforts of Sheriff Baca and law enforcement throughout our community, they create quite a burden on the judges, the administrators, the staff. So there's a price to pay. I can tell you that this courthouse on the criminal side of the building is the busiest courthouse with regard to felonies of any courthouse throughout the county except Compton. And Compton has a much bigger population than we do. We gladly bear that burden, and it's a burden that's not only felt on by the criminal courts, but also they are often pulling the civil judges, of which I am one, over to their side of the building, the dark side we call it, and helping out with the criminal cases that need to be taken care of. It's a burden that we gladly bear, but it couldn't be done without the hard work and efforts of all of the people that I'm here representing this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Thank you again. And our next speaker will be coming up.
Thank you and good morning. I'm very delighted to be here with two great cities leaders and also the County of Los Angeles in a great partnership that we've put together in the very, very important part of Los Angeles County, the Antelope Valley. This is really a story about the men and women and children that live here. This is about a community that has taken it upon itself to live in an area that we all enjoy because of its vast, significant land and the not only schools that are here, but the families that have bought homes and the businesses that have invested in this very, very important part of Los Angeles. This is America's greatest frontier from my point of view because Los Angeles County is the largest county in the United States. But when you think of the Antelope Valley in its size, it's 3 times larger than the city of Los Angeles in size. The population here came here with a dream in mind, and that was to not only work, but to live in a community where a family can grow and where people can become educated, and that the science of America and the aerospace industry can have a place where they can do great things for the future, not only of this great country called the United States of America, but it's also a place where scientists worldwide come and people in the industry of creating and inventing a better world understand where Lancaster is and where Palmdale is and where the Greater Valley is and what the Greater Valley is all about. This is really an important message that the people who live here we care for, that we want them to prosper, that we want their dreams to come true. The thing that gets in the way of it is not the weather, not the vastness of the desert, not the challenges of raising families and so forth. It's crime. And it's crime alone that we will not allow to impede the future of this great important valley. We believe in the deputy sheriffs that work here, and they're the ones that take really, from the law enforcement point of view, the fullest of all credit that could be possibly given. It's a special thing to work in a radio car here. I did work in a radio car here when I was a recruit in the Sheriff's Academy, the only time. And I've worked in 6 different sheriff stations throughout the county. But working up here is special because it will be cold at night. It will be hot in the summer. And there will be a vast amount of land that you have to travel sometimes to get to calls. And that you will be asked to do the extraordinary in policing. And that this is why I think our deputies who are standing behind us are really the individuals that I'm going to give my comments about, because the day-to-day call for services is significant. And the opportunity to try and prevent crime is extraordinary because of the extraordinary size of these cities. Each of these cities combined is 90 or 100 square miles apiece. And when you think of that and the resources and the thinness of those resources, this is why it was important for the County of Los Angeles and the Sheriff's Department to step up and send more resources here. And we had a blessing to have a great supervisor in Michael Antonovich who understands that we need to send more county resources to the Antelope Valley area. Lancaster and Palmdale, I was really insisting that we have 2 captains that live in this community. They are the chiefs of police of these 2 stations, and they're the ones who I give the greatest responsibility to when it comes to managing the resources in a way that it's effective. And both of them have been extraordinarily creative in what they've done. And I'm excited about what they've done with the deputies here and the professional staff. All of this wouldn't be possible without the great leaders of 2 cities, 2 cities that have great dreams and great promise, and also today great success. So I thank Mayor Ledbetter, and I thank Rex Parris for his great leadership as well. And all the entire movement behind the criminal justice system. The California Highway Patrol is a big partner, the probation department. The district attorney here is very, very strong. Those that work in the court building basically rectify the lives of people who have broken their lives in committing crime. And we try to bring forth programs for those that are the children that are getting in trouble at a lower level, and we want to prevent them from entering the criminal justice system. You're going to hear all about that. But the bottom line is reduce crime significantly. I asked that the captains work on setting a threshold for the rate of the Part 1 offenses, and we're talking about the serious crimes that the FBI, we report to the FBI what our rates are. It is my belief that if 300 serious crimes or less occur per 10,000 in a community, then you will see the appreciable effect on the streets where people feel safe, that they feel that they can be out in the evening hours, that their children can play with the relative feeling of safeness. And I'm pleased that in Palmdale we were able to reduce the rate per 10,000 of felony crimes to 278, and Lancaster to 291. This is an amazing thing. And you'll find more important data that the captains, I like them to talk about this because it really is the day-to-day work that they and their staffs have done, and I don't want to step on their show. I just want to tell you how important the Antelope Valley is, not only to me, but to the entire county of Los Angeles. This is the future of this county right here, and we're not going to let the future of the Antelope Valley go backwards when it comes to crime. We are going to set the base here so that more businesses will come, more people will come to live here, our schools will continue to prosper and do a great job, and that it will be called America's dream come true, the Antelope Valley. Thank you very much.
Thank you and good morning. This is a very good day. As the sheriff has already said, and the judge, this is a cooperative effort, a very strong cooperative effort. All the members of law enforcement and the court systems made a commitment a couple years ago that they were going to reduce crime here in the Antelope Valley, and you're starting to see the results of that. And on behalf of Supervisor Antonovich, he sends his sincere congratulations and appreciation for all that you've done, and that gives him that much more motivation at the Board of Supervisors meeting to continue to work towards bringing more resources here to the Antelope Valley so that we can continue to reduce crime and make this a much safer place today and well into the future. It is also something that the supervisor wants to recognize. It's the involvement of the community. In the unincorporated areas of the community, you have several town councils. Now, these are people that don't get paid for their positions. They go out and they volunteer. They come together to discuss different issues. And working closely with the Sheriff's Department and the deputies that have been assigned out to these different communities, they have built up a level of trust to share information, and that you can see the numbers. When you start talking 20% reduction in crime over a year, that is a cooperative level of trust that's going on between the community willing to share information and the Sheriff's Department and law enforcement in total following up on it. And that is just that's the way it's supposed to be. It's simply put, that's the way our communities get better, by everybody working as a partner. So congratulations to you all. We have much more work to do, and the supervisor will be there working with all the departments to make sure that happens. Thank you.
I want to bring up our team from the city of Palmdale that's with us this morning, and I'd like to bring Laura Bentoncourt up, Councilwoman. I'd like to bring our city manager, Steve Williams, and I also want to bring our Director of Public Safety and Community Relations, Ann Ambrose. And the reason this represents the team, but we're part of the city of Palmdale team. When you look at the overall team, the county, the sheriff, the courts, the success in the Antelope Valley really is a result of the teamwork. Now, I'd like to start off, number one, by congratulating our sheriff. Lee Baca fought for resources, our complement of what we contract for. And I believe our crime rate reduction is a direct result of getting the resources that we contract for. Now, I've been doing this for a little while. I've seen resources that have been thin. I've seen resources that have been applied based, again, on our contract terms. And I believe that is the key to what we're seeing in the Antelope Valley. Number two, I think, is the teamwork. We represent the team here this morning, but the team in the city of Palmdale really goes right back to our deputies that patrol our streets. We can't say thank you enough for them. They do outstanding work, and they partner with our residents every day to make a difference. The team also entails our neighborhood watch. You know, we only have to form one more neighborhood watch. And how many we're going to have then? 400 neighborhood watches in the city of Palmdale when we form one more. So I'm asking our residents of Palmdale, be the first to volunteer, be that number 400. I think that's a huge, huge difference because that takes the message into the neighborhoods. That takes the message to the individuals that want to make a difference in the neighborhood that we live in. The other benefit, I think, of a teamwork is how we work with our Business Watch. Same thing, residents participating in the reduction of crime. And I can tell you that our crime rate today, we're back to where we were back in 1995. Our crime rate today is about the same as it was in 1995, probably half the population. So it's a huge accomplishment to be able to drop that crime rate, number one, under 300, we're at 270 something, but also to be able to hit these numbers that we hadn't seen since 1995. So it's a huge accomplishment. We can get into numbers, but I'm going to let my captain do that, Captain Bobby Denham. Again, his department, we cannot say thank you enough for what they do every day. They make it all happen. With our support, we can continue to see these trends reduce, continue to see a place that we can be proud of, a place that does promote public safety, not only in words, but in deeds and in actions. And I think everybody, as far as the team is concerned, has done more than their fair share, but it's not enough because we want to continue to drive these numbers even further. Now, I've said a few words, and I'd like to give an opportunity for Councilwoman Laura Bittencourt to say a few words, if she would, please.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who has led to this accomplishment. This happened far faster than any of us imagined. We had originally set a 5-year goal for this, and it happened much faster than that. I am extremely lucky to be part of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department and watch the efforts of our teams firsthand. Their dedication is uncomparable to any other place that I have seen, and I'm proud to be a Palmdale City Council person and watching our city change for the better. Thank you.
Good job. I'd like to bring my city manager up. I'll say a few words, if you would. Steve Williams.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. This sort of accomplishment does not happen without great leadership and without great dedication. And I really have to give a lot of credit to what's happened in Palmdale, to Bobby Denham for his leadership there, and then also the deputies and the officers that work for him to get us to where we are. Because you see this on a daily, on a weekly basis, and it just doesn't happen overnight. I mean, it's happened very quickly, but it doesn't happen overnight. So it takes a lot of dedication, a lot of work, and I'm very proud of them. Thanks.
Good work. I think, again, let's close up by saying the team, again, I think is the accomplishment of the team is why we're here today, celebrating these great numbers, hitting our goal of under 300, going back to 1995 again. I think that's awesome. I've thanked a lot of people. I don't want to forget your Office of Public Safety, Ann Ambrose, because you are the ones working with our residents. You're making a difference in organizing these 400 neighborhood watches and business watches. And I believe the key here is community-based policing. When we partner with the sheriff, we partner with the resources that the sheriff provides, we can make great things happen in our community. And as a society, we cannot expect somebody to do it all. We also have to roll up our sleeves as residents. We also have to make a difference and participate. And through that, you're going to see great results like we're celebrating today. So for the City of Palmdale, we're here to say congratulations to everybody. Good job, Antelope Valley. Thank you.
Good morning. You know, the truly historic nature of today really has to be visualized more than it can be just put into words and numbers. You know, it was 2 years ago at the Lancaster Baptist Church that the sheriff committed to dropping the crime rate in the Antelope Valley to 300 per 10,000. And when he said that, he was the only one in the room who believed it was possible. Nobody else believed it. The captains, the lieutenants, the deputies, the mayors, nobody believed it except the sheriff. That it is truly historic. To give you an example of what it's like, imagine a pipe about 2 feet long. because that is how long the crime rate dropped in the United States. Now imagine one 30 feet high. It will go almost to the top of that building. That's how much the crime rate at Lancaster has dropped. It is truly unbelievable. And it wasn't just a question of the sheriff throwing some deputies at the problem, because you didn't really throw that many. We were hoping for a few more. Actually, that's not true. What it was the people coming together that were exceptionally bright and meeting week after week after week down in LA in the sheriff's department and coming up with new and innovative ways to restore the safety of this community. And it took them about a year of planning to accomplish that, and then they executed. And there is nowhere else in the nation where that has been done as successfully as it was done by the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. And it's also true that it wasn't just the deputies. Nowhere else in the world has the citizens come together like they have in the Antelope Valley. And I'd like to bring some of those up and talk a little bit about how that was accomplished. Sherry? Where's Sherry Marcus? Don't worry, I'm not going to make you speak. Ron, if you'd come up. You know, it was Sherry that was one of the primary organizers of AV War on Gangs that had that meeting where 3,000 of us showed up to ask the sheriff to help us fix this problem, where all of this started. And she kept with that until today, even running for council. Ron was the one who was on the council at the time that actually authorized and got the other council members to vote the money to bring the deputies in. Never would have happened without that. And then, Marv, if you would come up. And Marvin Christ, I think, represents the citizens and the business community. He's chairman of the Crime Commission in Lancaster, where everybody came together and said, what can we do to make this crime rate drop 30%? I mean, nobody dreamed it was going to be that much. And what did they do? You have the hospital personnel working with the sheriff's department to get the deputies back on the street. You have the high schools and the elementary schools working with the sheriff's department like they never have before. It's bringing parole in. It's bringing the courts in. It's everybody working for one common goal. And you know what that goal is? It's so that when we come here and have this press conference, we don't have people stretched around this building like it was last time. All of them with criminal matters. The point is it's not to catch bad guys. It's to make it so we don't have bad guys to catch. And that's really what they're accomplishing. What we want is no crime, not a lot of criminals that we catch committing the crimes. And I think the sheriff's department, like no other department, has taken ownership of that goal. And you see it when you talk to them, because the first thing they look at in the paper is the crime dots. Were they successful that day? And they actually celebrate when there's no dots. You know, to me, that is just goal-oriented policing in the extreme, which is absolutely bearing fruit. And I think we're going to be here a year from now talking about a further drop. It's not something a goal that we've reached. It's a goal that's continuing. And so I look forward to seeing you all next year. And thank you to the deputies who risk their lives doing this every single day. And I can't understate that it really is them risking their lives, because there's so few of them doing so much. Thank you. They told me 5 times not to forget this, and I did. Sheriff Baca? There are very few of these in existence, but we absolutely want to present one to you. I wish we had a park we were building so we could name it after you. But you're going to have to make do with the key to the city. You are absolutely the hero of Lancaster, and we cannot tell you how much we appreciate it. He really is our hero.
Let me just add one point here. First of all, I don't deserve this, but I accept this very graciously.
Tell him it's the key to the city.
Oh, it's very beautiful. It's the key to the city, and I will definitely put it in the highest place that I possibly can see this at my office, so I don't get locked out of my own office. The point is, one last thing. The deputies here deserve this more than I do. And I want to emphasize one thing about them that I didn't say. I see deputies as leaders. And when you give leaders more responsibility, you know what they do with it? They tackle the problem and they get to the answers. And I see this great desert as a community of leaders as well. All those that have been introduced have vast armies behind them of people who have been able to help the deputies. But deputies themselves have taken a great love and interest in the people that live here. And they're the ones who act in accordance with what leadership is all about. Their core values, the things that they believe in, what they stand for, they're the best that America can find when it comes to law enforcement. That's really what I want to say about this more than anything else. Thank you very much.
And one thing, I've lived here in the Antelope Valley for 36 years, and I've seen the Antelope Valley go through a lot of changes as the valley has grown and as the Sheriff's Department has grown with it. And the chief is right. Axel and I are not only friends, but we're partners, and we work very closely. And this really has helped us with the strategies I'm going to talk about today get to the success that we've really are celebrating. Without a doubt, and I say this after 32 years with the Sheriff's Department and Axel the same, that we have the best group of deputies you can possibly imagine. Professional all the way, energetic, dedicated, and sincere about what they're doing here in the Antelope Valley. And that has truly made a difference into what we're doing here today. When we look at these numbers, we could talk about some of the things that we started. When the sheriff was up here a few years ago and said we want to bring this crime rate down to a level below 300, we need some strategies. We worked on several of them. I'm going to talk about some of them today. One of the strategies that we came up with, because the number one thing that people were concerned about, obviously, was gang activity. Well, we came up with a couple of strategies. One is that a lot of our gang violence was related to parties. The parties were occurring mostly on the weekends. We were seeing shootings and stabbings and other assaults related to the party. So we developed highly specialized party cars to go to these parties and stop these parties before they got to be out of hand. Because typically, with today, with these cell phones and texting, you could start a party with 10 or 15 people. Next thing you know, you have 200 or 300. So by getting to these parties early, we were able to put them down before they got out of hand. Additionally, we created a strategy, and I want to give credit to Lieutenant Bob Johnson, who heads the Antelope Valley Crime Fighting Initiatives, and created this strategy. And what this next strategy is called Ceasefire, and what that was is that we would identify the most active gang in a particular week or a couple of weeks. We would identify the gang members within there, and we would personally knock on their door and hand them a letter advising them that we know they're members of this gang. This gang is responsible for certain types of crime in the Antelope Valley, and we're going to be looking very closely at them. We also provided copies with the district attorney in the event any of them got arrested for any type of gang activity, which would enhance their prison sentence. So this was a strong message that we sent to each and every gang member by knocking on their door. This certainly got their attention when 4 or 5 deputies are knocking on your door, handing you a letter telling you, we know you're a gangster, we know you're up to no good, and we're going to keep an eye on you. So that had an impact. In fact, when you put these two strategies together, the gang violence has been reduced this year 44%. So that's a huge number that we've seen here in the Antelope Valley. Gang shootings are down 41%. And overall gang violence is down 47%. So those are some big numbers by implementing some strategies that we put together here valley-wide, not only in both Palmdale and Lancaster, but in the unincorporated areas as well. So there was no place for gang members to hide here in the Antelope Valley. And there still is no place for them to hide. We're going to continue our aggressive approach. We're going to continue identifying and pursuing these gang members and continue to drive down those gang stats. In addition, burglaries were on the rise, not only here in the Antelope Valley, but throughout the county and throughout the nation for a number of reasons. And both stations implemented burglary suppression teams. These burglary suppression teams, and I'm sure many of you have read in the local news, have attributed hundreds of arrests to these specific teams and recovered thousands upon thousands of dollars of stolen property and reduced the burglary numbers significantly. These burglary suppression teams, these deputies were handpicked, and they are very aggressive, very knowledgeable, and very dedicated individuals, and made a dramatic impact on burglaries here in the Antelope Valley. So by taking each crime category and specifically addressing those by strategies that we've developed, we've gotten smarter, we've gotten better, we've gotten more aggressive. Our deputies are better trained, they're more motivated. Put that together with the fact that our community has stepped up, like many people have said today. We've got more neighborhood watches than ever before. We have more business watches than ever before. People are in the community that are standing up. These same people are sitting in the juries, putting these people in prison. So this community has stepped up and made a huge difference here in the Antelope Valley, taking the crime from where it was down to a level below 300 in just a few years is a phenomenal feat, and we certainly have a lot of people to thank. We definitely don't want to overlook these deputies standing here because they are true heroes in our community. And I want to thank you very much for participating and making our community a better place. So thank you very much.
This is really a happy day out here in the Antelope Valley. Not only the beautiful weather that we may have for the next day or two if we're lucky, I guess, but it has to do with the wonderful progress we've made in reducing crime in our communities. And I just can't help but smile a little bit when it gets down to the fact that over the last year in the city of Lancaster, we're looking at a 21% reduction in Part 1 crimes. And that translates into hundreds of crimes, and we're very, very proud of that. You know, this all hasn't happened accidentally. It's the result of a lot of hard work, and maybe more importantly, partnerships between a variety of agencies and people. You know, and where all these partnerships and relationships are concerned, I'd like to start out by thanking Sheriff Baca for his very strong support of our efforts out here in the Antelope Valley. You know, his leadership, and maybe just as importantly, his contribution of very scarce resources out here has been key to making sure that that we're able to continue our mission in a positive manner. I also want to thank Supervisor Antonovich, because it's been my experience that year after year he has demonstrated that public safety is his #1 priority. I also want to thank our two mayors Paris and Ledford, and also our the tremendous leadership which was demonstrated by our two city councils. They've been absolutely key, and they also have ensured that we need the resources that we need to help us move forward, eliminate gangs and crime. And you know, I don't think we could, thank the people that need to be thanked out here in the Antelope Valley if we didn't say something about our courts, our district attorney's office, and also our parole and probation departments. You know, it's really teamwork throughout the criminal justice system. I think that that's given us the success, and those agencies and the courts have been very, very important in that respect. Last but not least, I have to mention our deputies working out here in the Antelope Valley area. I've had a blessed career. I've had a 30-year career with the Sheriff's Department, and I've worked a variety of interesting units and several different patrol stations, and I've got to tell you the truth. I have never seen, or at least very rarely in my experiences on the department, a group of deputy sheriffs, both at Palmdale and Lancaster, who are more dedicated and more concerned about providing good services for our communities. And I think there's a reason for that. I really do. Our deputies out here in the Antelope Valley are very aware that they have tremendous support, not only from the department, not only from our cities, but also from our communities. And that can't help but be a real motivator for them, because it's very, very obvious that they enjoy and they feel an obligation to get out there and do the best job they possibly can. So I think we really owe a debt of thanks to those wonderful deputies that we have out here working in the Antelope Valley. But you know, with all our recent successes, we're all very, very aware that the job is not done. And I know Bob and I are looking forward to 2010 to continue the direction that we're moving and do the very, very best job to create the kind of community out here in the Antelope Valley that all of our residents deserve. We're going to keep after it. Thank you very much.
I wanted to tell you a story about Dan. When Dan first came to town, it was the first time I met him was the day after the election 2 years ago, and he was friends with my brother who was in the Highway Patrol, and he brought him in, and we shared some coffee for about a half hour, and then he just casually said, you know, just being polite, I think, well, is there anything I can do to help you up here? And I said, yeah, you know, we really need something to do, something to work on with these gangs, and if there's anything the Highway Patrol could do, you know, we would really appreciate it. He says, oh, that's easy. And the next week, millions of dollars were poured into this area from the California Highway Patrol because of Dan Bauer. But more importantly, they got together with the Sheriff's Department, and for the first time in history, we had CHP officers in the same car with Sheriff's deputies, sharing intelligence, creating almost a barrier of the gangs on the freeway to keep them from coming up here. It was truly remarkable. And again, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. I have to give credit. A couple of years ago, the governor came up with a gang reduction and intervention initiative. It's $45 million for the purpose of partnering up state resources such as the California Highway Patrol with local resources in areas that have gang problems. And so the mayor's request was very timely for me because we were able to actually initiate a petition process that it took for us to get the money and to get the resources to this area. We successfully did that. And since May 1st of 2008, we've been partnering with the Sheriff's Department because we obviously patrol the 14 freeway, and a lot of those party goers that the captain was speaking about earlier come from the other side of the hill. And so we put a sheriff's deputy and a CHP officer in the same car so that we use our relative expertise that we each have and combine them together, and then the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And so we have been enormously successful. And even during these difficult economic times, we just started another round of that here in January, and we're continuing it. And the governor has allowed us to continue the funding for this program because public safety and law enforcement is a priority of any government. And I think the governor understands that. And so on behalf of the governor and the CHP, I'm very, very proud to be that our department has played a little part in this reduction here. And I appreciate the sheriff's support because the letter of petition was signed by the sheriff as well, and we had to go through them, and so the sheriff and his station commanders have been very good partners with us, and so we look forward to continuing that partnership. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the formal presentations. I'll ask if there are any questions from media representatives of any of the speakers. Seeing none, I'll let you know that we'll all be up here for a little while afterwards, and we can talk to any member of the media or the community individually. Thank you very much for attending.